Okay, so I'm gonna try to do a little watercolor tutorial. I'm not even sure I can do it, but I'm gonna try. I got inspired by the rainy day, and I'm gonna do a little girl or young lady with a umbrella in a city. Old windows, and I don't know, it looks kind of European, I'm not really sure, but anyway, the basic thing is I took my ruler and I decided that, and she's right in the middle of the page, which is not the best place, but maybe it'll work. So I've got put the ruler down and just lined off some, a roadway. There's this here and that, and then you've got the vertical lines as well, and the windows and doors are, they are all converging, so you've got a little bit of perspective happening there. But it's going to be really loose, and it's not going to matter a lot if it's not just right, so don't freak out over it yet. A little bit of a curve or something right there, so that didn't show up. And I have some photos that I'm going to include of this drawing, so you can kind of look at it. And you don't have to put this much in it. If you just want to make, a sky that looks rainy or whatever, you can do that too. So, so for now, this is going to be the drawing part. Okay, so I'm going to keep the color scheme very simple. Most of it is going to be done in Payne's Gray. Or you can use black if you have that, or you can mix ultramarine blue and burnt sienna together to get a bluish gray. So if you have those colors, then you should be fine. I'm going to do the umbrella first, and I'm going to do it red, or you could do it yellow if you like, but I think I may put some yellow in her coat, but I'm not sure yet. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the umbrella, and I still have lots of lines showing because I'm probably going to go back and and enhance with a little Sharpie or one of my micro pens or something like that. So the reason why you see this right here is because this is a little lighter than what's going around. That's like the highlighted spot in the middle of the umbrella. So we're going to see how that goes. So I'm just going to use my cadmium red medium, which is very light actually. And let's see. Okay. So I'm just going to go around it. Just give it a light wash all the way around. And this is a different approach for me because I don't usually do a lot of cityscapes or people. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. So I'm just using the same paper that we use in class. It's a cheap, the Canson, 140-pound weight. And so, all right, so I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Let that dry, and I'm going to come back and put the darker areas in. Okay, so I have a little bit of my cadmium red light, and then I've got cadmium yellow medium, and I think I'm going to mix a little bit of that in with my red, just so it's a little bit more orangey. And then I'm going to come back up here since it's all dry, and I'm going to go around and make that just a little bit darker. Using the point of my brush to kind of go where the spokes of the umbrella are, and I'm not gonna, it's not perfect, and that's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna let that part dry just a little while I'm loading up my brush again with this cadmium red here. Okay, so it may bleed into that, that's okay. it'll have a softer edge that way. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Go around the edges. I'm not trying to be too careful with it. I want it to be a little bit on the loose side. So the way the umbrella is tilted, there's less of a less highlight up there at the top, and that's fine. Okay, so let's kind of soften the edges up. Bring that back up in there a little bit. Idea what that noise was. Okay, so let's start. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it somewhere like that. Let's let that dry. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my cadmium yellow medium. You can use whatever color you want. And I'm just gonna throw this on here real quick. And I'm leaving my lines. You can see all the lines. I'm gonna go over that with a pen because I would like a little bit of detail in the raincoat. And just a bright yellow. Probably needs a little shadow in it. So I'm gonna use my sepia. You can just use a dark brown. You could use your Payne's gray. Doesn't really matter. A little bit of shadow. And I'll just put a little bit of shadow in here. Still yellow, it just takes it down a little bit. Okay, good enough. Okay, I think I'm gonna have her, I want the legs to be black. Maybe she has on, you know, dark skinny jeans or some leggings or whatever. And that's not real detailed, it doesn't. So I'm just getting my Payne's gray, what I'm gonna use here. You can make them navy, you can make them whatever color. All right, so I'm just gonna bring her leg down. Little curve in the calf, and like I said, this is really loose. I'm not going to stress out about the feet or any of that. So I'm just pulling it down, leave a little space in her legs, and that's it. That's all I'm doing there. If I can refrain from from over painting it. So, all right, so there's the legs. And I'll come back and do a little more detail in a minute. Okay, so now it's pretty dry. The rest of the painting is going to be done in a wash of Payne's gray. So like I said, I didn't want a lot of color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the street. It's got a little yellow in it, but that's okay. And just kind of get up next to her. Oh, she's still wet. It's okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Since it's Payne's gray on her legs, I'm going to try to be more careful around her coat and the umbrella. Okay, it's not that critical really. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure the street is covered with water. Maybe that little curve there too. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let a highlight be right here in the middle, where she's standing on the street, where the light's hitting it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll go ahead and put this in. because it's all watery, kind of get a fun effect there. This was dry, but I kind of like the way that looks. I'm gonna leave it. Sometimes it's fun just to have a surprise. Occasionally, it can work. So I'm looking in here, but it's a little darker. A little darker over here by the edge. And maybe it's a cobblestone street, or maybe it's whatever. Come back and decorate it up in a little bit. So I just want this to be a little darker right through here. Okay, so I'll let that dry just a little. Put a little detail in over here. I guess the drawing on this was probably the most difficult part, because the rest of it's going to be super easy. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit. And I need to kind of fade that out right up through there. That looks a little better. Okay. All right, so now I think the street is probably close to done. Take a little. Okay, and I can always go back and make that a little darker over there if I want to. So for now, we're gonna let that dry. I'll be right. Okay, so if you haven't dumped your water and got some clean water, now's a good time to do that, because we're gonna take our clear water. You can stop the video at any time and then come back to it. So I'm gonna do what I did on the road. It's gonna wet all of this, because I want it to be a little bit of a light gray. And that's what is good about doing monochromatic with watercolor, is you can just layer on top of light on top of, dark on top of light. Anyway, let's get all the water on there. These are just little archway doorways, and we're not gonna really work on those too much, just because it's not really the main focus point here. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Payne's Gray and really dilute it with a lot of water. The water's already on there, but anyway, just really light, kind of a little bit lighter than what the road is. So we want it, the walls are on the street are, that light stucco or whatever it is. But we can paint over all of it because the rest of it will be darker. So just so it has a little color on it. It's a little too light. And you can do it, as light or dark as you would like, but this over here, this side is probably needs to be a little bit darker because the sun's not hitting it, or the light is not hitting it as much. This out here can be a little bit lighter. Be a little careful around your umbrella. Might pick up some paint and move it accidentally, so trying to avoid that. Okay. And come over here. It's a little darker on this side. This is the lighter area, because this is more in the shadow. So I'm just gonna get my color on there. Now, come back over here, darken it up just a little bit. So you got a little bit of, shade here, and that's where the light is hitting more. Okay. Okay, so once you've got that on there, we're gonna let it dry. And we'll come back and put some detail in it. Okay, so I'm gonna use my smaller brush. I think this is the 8. Yeah, you can barely see it. It's really in bad shape. To work on the windows and doors and stuff. If you have a flat brush, it may work better for your windows, and I may try it a little bit too. So small flat brush. These are actually round at the top, but if you don't want to make them round, you don't have to. You can just make them square, rectangular. But the smaller brush is probably going to be, you know, helpful on the windows. So I've still got my lines showing here. You can erase those. Your drawing doesn't need to be anywhere near as dark as mine. I just wanted it dark so you could see what I was doing. And once you've painted over it, it's really hard to to get the lines off, but it's fine. They'll disappear once we get to working on it. So I'm going to start, and again, this is going to be the Payne's Gray, and I'm going to start with the number 8 brush. Number 6, number 8, just a small round brush, and I'm going to get my Payne's Gray a little darker here. I'm going to start over here and move this way, so I'm going to start on the doorway and just kind of get it darker. And just, you don't have to be really careful with it. I want it to be really loose, and then I'm gonna put this back in. Okay. All right, and then the doorway here. Color that in a little bit more. You can always go back and make it darker. This door, these are straight lines, and then the tops of them, this isn't an arched top up here, but the tops are gonna converge, so they're gonna be slanted. And I'm not wetting the areas that I'm painting. The darker areas, I'm not doing that on the windows or doors because they'll bleed out all over everything else, and I need for them to be just a little bit more crisp. So, all right, now I'm gonna swap over to my little brush, and you can make your windows however you want them. You don't have to do what I'm doing here, but the little flat brush makes a really good window. And so up here, I don't even know what I'm doing. I do have a little photograph that I'm looking at, but I'm not going right by it, so it doesn't really matter if you see it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna just go up here, get myself what passes as a window anyway. A little more round. Okay, so like I said, this is just really see, I kind of like to put the shadow here, put a highlight there. Raining, but maybe the sun's out a little bit. Now up here, I'm gonna make these a little bit lighter. I don't want those, so I'm gonna put more water in my Payne's Gray, and I'm just gonna give myself I'm not even gonna really worry about what's happening up here. I'm just gonna put in something. Very fast and loose. Those are just kind of, you know, maybe there's a windowsill there. And I just am not gonna spend a lot of time on this. I think I do want the edge of this building to be a little darker, so I'm just gonna take my little flat brush and do that. And I want this to be a little darker down here. So that's just a little curve in the road, and maybe there's a little something there. Door kind of recesses back into the wall. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that a whole lot. It's not my goal to really make this building, you know, a great building. That window's a little darker, so I'll darken it. Okay, and then down here, I'm just going, these are the little arched windows, so I think what I'm gonna do is take my brush, I'm gonna make them square, and then I'm gonna push down starting with this flat bottom. So watch that, and I'll pull it up. Oh, I need to go all the way up to my line there. And see, I can still see my line. Let me make this one just a little bit taller. I didn't make it. Anyway, just get them on there the best way you can. But the little flat brush, if you have one, if you don't, you can, look, you can also do this. You can fill it in with your round brush. It'll work just fine. So there you go. And these are getting taller as they, okay, there we go, a little bit darker there. All right, so they're getting taller as they're moving over towards the right hand side. So there we go. Oh, I didn't do that one. I did the other ones. Try to be consistent here. That would be helpful. Okay, and then of course, as they're moving over this way, they're supposed to get further apart. I'm not sure that mine are, but oh well. Maybe I need to put this one here, and then I'll put another one in. So these are getting taller. There we go. Not doing as good on these. Okay, it's good enough though. Just good enough for this. This is practice. This will probably go in the trash. The one I did last week went in the trash after I got done with it. I know y'all did better than I did on it. But that's okay. All right, so. And so there's a little bit of a bend in the wall there, so I'm gonna make it stand out a little bit more. Let's take my little flat brush and do that. And give myself a little darker curve down there. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of continue these windows up here. So I'm just going to kind of go off the page there. Okay, not a big deal. And then these doors here, I probably should have my bigger brush. I'll try it with my bigger brush. Okay. So these are the doorways. So see how this is, I'm just using all one color. It's just it's monochromatic. So it gives you that kind of gray, rainy look. Rainy day look. Just brush that on like that. And this is all still wet, so I'm gonna add that shadow in. Something like that. Now let's straighten this up. Okay, good enough. All the way over to the edge on that one. Okay, that worked out pretty good. Let's do something else. This needs a little bit of something on it. So, something in between here. Don't know. Not exactly sure. Maybe I need to put another row of windows in there. I don't know. Need something. Or maybe these are need a little more detail. Okay, let's see. Just put something that's just sort of decorative. I don't know what that is. They're ledges or something. I don't know. Anyway, good enough. gonna give myself a little bit of something on that door, some kind of trim or whatever. That's a little too dark. Didn't mean to go there. Let's lighten that up just a little. Okay, and that can come down like that. All right, and I'm gonna go a little bit darker in here. Let's get a bigger brush. Very dark inside the doorway. And very dark over here. Okay. All right. So, put a little bit of something there. And maybe I need something up there. Okay. All right, so that's gonna be good enough, I think, for the little buildings. Maybe let's put something vertical. I don't know, I need something there. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on the street just a little bit more. I'm gonna wet it some, because I really want it a little darker on the sides. The doorways are so dark, it needs to be dark over here too. So I'm just trying to push it out, darken it up just a little bit. I had it a little bit too light. But that's okay, because you know, if it's too light, you can always make it darker. If it's too dark, then you're in trouble. It's hard to make it lighter if it's too dark. Sometimes you can. If it's still wet, you can fix it. All right, so I really want that darker over there. Just trying to make that rainy look. I want it to be gray and rainy, and then she's the bright spot in the rain with her red umbrella and yellow raincoat. Okay, maybe that's all I need to do there. I'm gonna just darken this up a little bit. It needs to be darker. So you can always darken things. Can't always make them lighter though. Just a little wash on top of that. Okay. Just a little darker. Not as dark, but just a little bit darker. Not as dark as what I just put on the other ones. The other two sides. But a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. That's good enough for the city, and we'll let that dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna work on the umbrella just a little bit more. It looks very washed out, so I want it to be a little brighter. So, I'm gonna try making it a little brighter. Same red paint. So I'm gonna use this flat brush and see if that's gonna make a little bit of a difference here. Yeah, I like that. board taped to the table so it doesn't move. That's kind of hard because I need it to move a little bit, but I have to have it taped down so the camera will stay on it, because if I move it around then I can't see what's happening. It takes longer to mess with all that. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to soften the edges up. Put it on up into here a little. Maybe I'll throw a dot or two of yellow in there. Kind of like the way that looks. Okay. All right, so now my umbrella is much brighter. I like that better. Crisp up the edges a little bit there. Okay. So if you have a flat brush, it really helps to make your edges straight. If you want them straight, they don't have to be straight. You really don't. So, okay, I think that's okay, just like that. Now, I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm going to kind of finish it up with a Sharpie or fine pen, but I think I'm gonna use a thicker pen. Okay, I'll be right back. So it's pretty dry now. I'm actually gonna enhance mine with this fine tipped Sharpie pen. It's not quite as fine as the micro tips or the micro pens, but my micro pens are dried up, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this little dot here in the middle of the umbrella, and I'm gonna try to be a little looser with it, and I'm gonna go around the edges, and it is a pretty fine tip on it, actually. It's not as fat as you would think. Okay, now if I can see where my little umbrella lines went. Get those. That one's not quite that straight, but anyway. It's kind of like a pizza. There's 8. Okay, good enough. Okay, so now I'm gonna come down here, and I'm just gonna be really sketchy on her raincoat. Probably should have a little more shadow on the arms. I'm gonna go back and fix that. And her little belt tie is however you want to do it. I'm gonna put a little buckle right there. And then over here, that's the other side. And there's the little eyelets, and then there's the split in the back. Anyway, good enough. Okay, legs. They're dark, they're pretty dark already, so I'm not gonna do much to those. I'm just give it a little bit of something there. Okay, a little shadow. Cut. This is called hatching, so I'm just kind of hatching a little bit there. Cross hatch makes it darker. Anyway, I used to draw a lot, but I haven't done much drawing lately. So I'm not gonna do a lot of pen work, I don't think, on the rest of this, but I am gonna give it a little bit of, I just want it to look really loose and sketchy, so I'm just gonna make it that way. And you see I'm not being very careful with it, and that's fine. Kind of going a little too fast, probably. But the faster you go, usually the straighter your lines will be. If you're trying to go and do this really slow, your line is going to be more wobbly. So if you can kind of do that sketchy and sketch with your arm instead of trying to do it with your wrist, just kind of hold it straight, and you know, that helps. Okay, so I'm just trying to give it a very sketchy, loose look. That's what I want. I can't turn my board, so I'm a little bit. And, you know, it doesn't look exactly like I wanted it to, but it's okay. And it's a little shadow under there that I didn't paint in. Okay, so we're going to go in and work on these little windows a little bit. Maybe try to get them a little more uniform, although they don't have to be. Okay, so there's that. not sure I want to put anything on the street. Maybe I'll put something there so that looks like it's kind of a little curb. Made it look round, a little more round. Okay, so I'm going to darken that up just a wee bit. And maybe I'll make those a little bit darker. So you can just put all kinds of little sketchy stuff in to make shadows and to enhance your drawing. I think it looks a little better with a pen. And you don't have to do that. I'm just playing. That's kind of fun to do this one. I liked it. It's very different from where I'm usually at with my with my watercolor. It's not really my expert area. Of course, I'm not an expert in watercolor anyway, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I think that's it. I think it's done. I'm just gonna sign it. And that's it. So let me untape it and we'll see what it looks like untaped. Okay, so that was a fun little rainy day drawing. Coat's a little bit bright. Could probably go in and put a few more shadows in there if you want to. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore, but it was kind of fun to do. I like the watery look. It does look a little rainy. And it was fun. So I hope y'all can see it. I'm not able to look at it too well, but there it is. And happy painting.